that's basically full blast. You don't have any way of grading it up or down in terms of power. It's just on or it's not. And it's definitely got some noise to it, but I wouldn't classify it as loud or even kind of upsetting to the ears. We just have to talk a bit louder. We don't have to shout really. And I don't foresee having a social event when I'm using this booth anyway, so I don't find the noise that bad. But there it is. I'm going to turn it off. Squeaky chair. So what's up, everybody? This is going to be an impressions ramble on this airbrush spray booth that I got off of Amazon. You could also find on eBay. You might find it in hobby stores. This particular company, I think, is Zenny that makes it, but you're going to find these badged under a bunch of different company names for different price points. Basically, it's a portable spray booth for airbrushing purposes. You could, if you're careful, I imagine, spray paint inside of it, although that's a lot messier. You could also use kind of cleaning chemicals, and it's used as a venting thing for that as well if you so desired, but really it's meant for airbrush purposes. That's the spray booth for it. It comes with a Lazy Susan. That's pretty cool. And everything else is an optional accessory. Basically LED lights or not, and then further air ducting for the exhaust or not. I got the air ducting exhaust accessories, but you don't have to necessarily. I did. I'll go into that a little bit later. I did not get it with LED lights because, as you can see, the frostedness of the side pieces and the top, it's the same frosted level, means light will shine through it fine. I have nice bright white LED light lamps already, and they'll shine through just fine. So not really worried about needing extra LED lighting, because while I don't have my airbrush set up yet, I'm working on it. Next couple of months I should have an airbrush set up to use this. All I plan to do is primer and base coat, or do the Tisca Ruby effect via airbrush, so I can do multiple models at once quickly and efficiently. I'm not looking to do any fancy source lighting or super crazy blending or shading highlight crazy stuff. Just looking to do basic primer and base coating to get onto the next step. That's all I'm looking to do. So with that being the case, I'm not particularly worried on having super specific LED lighting in here. And if you are doing more intricate stuff, you probably have a nice light setup already, so you can just use that with the booth anyway. But anyways, no LED lights on this one. It would just raise the price up. The price point is around 60 bucks or so US to around 100 bucks or so US that I've seen, depending upon the accessories and which company is badging it underneath their name. So you don't need to get, basically look for the most off-brand version, tends to be the cheaper price point. You're basically getting the same exact thing, is my recommendation. Now, this was making its rounds on the wargaming community on the internet 4 years ago or so. It's still easily to find now. I bought mine recently, and it was easy enough to find off Amazon. I knew about it 4 or so years ago. I just wasn't in a position where I felt I was ready to get involved with airbrushing in terms of space and all that. Which might sound silly because this is a portable, collapsible spray booth, but still, I didn't want to spray in a kitchen area, you know what I mean? So now that I have the ability to spray elsewhere, I'm going to get involved with it over time. So that's always good, I guess. But anyways, that's my little tangent done. I definitely feel something like this is a worthwhile investment from right away for getting into airbrushing. You want some place you can spray that is going to suck the fumes and the excess spray, overspray stuff away from you. You don't want to breathe any of that in, even for acrylics or anything like that. It's just better for your health to have constant flow of air away from you, to pull that air away that you're spraying, that doesn't get on the model. So especially if you're going to experiment with other paint mediums, not just acrylic, you definitely don't want to breathe any of that in. Wear a little painter's mask regardless, wear some gloves just to be extra careful, and have fun with it and stay healthy. You only have one of you, and it's not like it's particularly super dangerous to airbrush, but why put yourself in an unnecessary potential risk for health problems down the line when you can easily get something you invest a little extra money to have something to vent air for you and so forth. So that's why I recommend getting a spray booth right away. And a portable spray booth is more cost effective, can go with you easier. If space is a premium, it's definitely going to help with that. And I think is a worthwhile investment. So like I think I mentioned, the lazy Susan comes with it, the filter comes with it, it's replaceable. I haven't taken the filter out to see if there's a part number or dimension or anything like that to order extras, but I'm sure you could probably find it if you do a little bit of digging. No LED lights on mine, but I did get the air ducting accessories, which I'm not going to really showcase because they're bulky. Basically, you get a collapsible bit of like dryer tube and couplings to connect it to this, and then a little vent piece that's a little bigger than an inch tall, so you can put it underneath a window or underneath a door to vent out completely, which is pretty cool. But as far as space goes, I mean, this Lazy Susan is a decent size. It sits in there no problem. This is an old Predator I gotta fix up and redo, but it sits in there no problem. I've seen pictures of this with Imperial Knights sitting in there, no problem. So you get a good amount of work room. If for some reason you needed it to be extra longer, you can take one of these sides down, buy a second one, and you have the two side by side. Kind of interesting. But for our purposes, 97% at the very least, I would say, of what we're going to do, whether it's the whole model or in subsections, will fit in one just fine. So that's pretty cool. You could, in theory, use this as a full paint station. You know, airbrush with it, and then when you're done with the airbrush, you can bust out your paintbrushes and finish off the work in here, no problem. So with that said, you heard the noise. They say 47 decibels. I don't know how true it is. I don't know what 47 decibels really means in the practicality of it. I know what decibels are, but I don't know what 47 equates to. I don't know if this is accurate or not. And I don't really care because it's not that unpleasant. I mean, it's white noise, basically. And it's not as loud as a vacuum, I feel. Like my vacuum cleaner, I think, is noisier. I could be mistaken, but I think it is. I don't feel like I would need earbuds to use this for an extended period of time. And because I'm going to be using it on, you know, when I'm by myself, I don't plan to use it during a hangout session or anything, I don't really see that much of a worry. Just turn up your TV, turn up your radio, and you'll be fine, I think, personally. So this is portable, which is nice. So it collapses down. It's not, I mean, even open, you could move it around a bit, but it collapses down to be like a little, almost like a little case in terms of size. And what you do is you open up the top so it all folds in on itself eventually, like that. This folds up like this, kind of accordions in. Then this comes in to be the lid. You close it, and you're done. Now it's ready to be portable. This is where the power connects. This is the switch to turn it on. This is the power port. The older ones, this storage area for that power cable would have been a retractable power cord, but they have since done away with that for this setup. And on the back here is part of the optional ducting. This would twist off, and then you have a nice slender profile to move things around with. You get a little storage bag, a little backpack if you will, to hold all the pipe work, and you're good to go and store it away. This I like, and unfortunately you don't get this unless you get the full ducting accessory piece, which has collapsible tubing, a coupling for this, a little fitting at the end like I mentioned. The reason I like this is that it directs the air, because without it, it's like a computer case with a fan on it. It just blows the air out. It's not really directed anywhere. It can go up, it can go down, whatever, go, you know, go out obviously, but kind of in a more fan effect. This controls the direction of the air to be out this way. And that's what a pipe basically does. It forces it to go in a specific direction and exit. So I really like this being on here at the very least, because not that it's going to come back around on you necessarily, but you want to get the air directed and give it a little bit of direction when it comes out. And you will get fine paint particles escaping out of here though. It's not going to be, you know, something that's going to stain, you know, you do one session and you're staining whatever's behind here. Not necessarily, but you'll notice it over time, I imagine, if you keep it in the same space every time and do a whole lot of airbrushing. So tissue paper, like a tissue or like a paper towel, not fully closing it off, but like kind of taped up to be kind of a not a blind but a curtain style effect, will help capture any of the fine particles of paint that go through the filter. Remember, the filter is a decent filter in here, it looks like, but when it comes to being something like this, kind of like a fume hood also, if you will, with a filter, it's a battle between air volume and filter density in terms of filtering out the smallest stuff. And the big goal of a spray booth like this is air volume, trapping the excess spray, of course, perhaps doing something with the fumes, and more so getting the air volume and keeping the air away from you, giving you constant fresh air in and fresh air to breathe. It's not so much to filter it out and make it the cleanest air ever coming out of it, although it is doing a bit of filtering. So airbrushes will make fine particles of paint that will be able to, because of the air pressure and flow and yada 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 science, go through it and come out the outside of the exhaust. So just having a little something there to collect it, I personally feel more comfortable about. Not that it's really going to make a super big deal, but just something worth noting. Anyways, that's this one by Zenni in this case, although whatever company one will be basically the same. I like it. I haven't used it yet, but I am getting an airbrush setup slowly together over time. I imagine the next couple of months I'll be airbrushing to mediocre effects, but it'll help speed up my process of painting. I'm not looking to do anything fancy, just take over the primer base coat portion of my painting to make things go a little smoother. Anyways, if you were thinking about this and you haven't really decided whether or not to purchase it yet, I think taking a little look at it is in order. I would say if you're going to get involved in airbrushing and you don't have a spray booth set up already, this is definitely worth getting. Could you build your own? Sure. Could you build a bigger one for the same price or cheaper? Sure. Do you necessarily need a bigger one? Not really. And space can be a premium, so setting up more of a permanent spray booth isn't always the best option. So definitely worth considering if you were in the past taking a closer look at it. I think it'll be a nice investment. If you have this yourself, by all means share in the comment section how it's working out for you. Once I start making use of it, I'll do a follow-up video, but that's going to take some time. Like I said, a couple of months just to get started, and then we'll see. But anyways, that's really that. So thanks for sticking through it. Questions, comments, or requests, you can leave them in the comment section. And until next time, take it easy.